The driver of the white van parked next to Gus's house and Mr. Dominus handed Gus a folded sheet of paper. "Tonight at 5 p.m., you will go to Freedom Miller High," Mr. Dominus instructed, as he handed Gus a key. "You will go into the elevator in front of the entrance, and insert the key into the bottommost floor. From there, you will find one of the stores of water, and you will use an electrolyzer." Mr. Dominus handed Gus a bag. "The instructions to use it are in the folded sheet of paper. Can you please explain to me what the hell is going on?" Gus demanded. "I'm sure you're aware of the prestigious water fountain at your coveted high school. This water is being utilized in a nefarious scheme previously operated by Mayor Thomas Clark, and now Mayor Barrington. There is an element in the water, and you must separate it from the hydrogen and oxygen. Won't I be killed if I try to oppose the literal mayor?" Gus asked. "No. I've come up with a distraction, and I assure you, the scientist will not be working there, or ever again." Asterisk. It was 5:04 p.m., and Toby Winters had arrived at the Donna Strip Club. He made sure to arrive early, as he didn't want to arrive late and miss out on this seemingly golden opportunity. Truthfully, Toby was tired. Tired of working as a pawn in the games of the powerful men in Banco Falls. He wanted to be powerful, but he had a feeling he'd never escape the painful game he had to play. Toby entered the strip club, dreading the hordes of naked women and lazy slobs paying unnecessary money for a mere night's pleasure. But, as Toby entered, he would find something even worse than an abundance of naked dancing women, and this horrifying thing happened to be the lack thereof. There was nobody in the club, nobody except for Harry Roots, the economist. Harry Roots smiled and greeted Toby, who tried his best to convey the same warm gesture Harry had presented for him, but was still unnerved by the empty club. "So you closed the club, just to talk to me?" Toby asked. "I figured it would be hard for you to concentrate on the conversation if there were naked whores everywhere," Harry said with a wink. Suddenly, Harry pulled out a gun from his waistband and disabled the safety whilst cocking the gun and aiming it at Toby, who put his hands up in surrender. "Mr. Dominus needs you dead so that we can steal the water, so it's nothing personal," Harry declared. "But I'm a student of his," Toby whined. "I guess I came first, so say your last words." Suddenly, a loud bang came from above, and Harry had been shot in the leg. Toby looked up and there he saw Bloodshot, coming to save him again. "Bloodshot!" Toby shouted. Bloodshot immediately started to leave, so Toby rushed towards Harry to take his gun, and he pointed it at Bloodshot. "Don't move." Bloodshot stopped running away. "How did you know I was here?" Toby questioned him. "I can't tell you," Bloodshot said. "Tell me, or I'll shoot," Toby announced. Bloodshot took a long pause before finally saying, "Mr. Dominus sent me to kill Mr. Roots to stop him from killing you, and I was supposed to get away, but I guess not." He groaned. Toby was beyond confused at this point. Whose side was Mr. Dominus playing for? And how did VB come into this? "You're a student of his too?" Toby inquired. "He sent me to protect you," Bloodshot replied. Then Toby realized something. He realized that somebody was going to the lab to steal the fountain water, and the work he had spent so much time on would be for nothing. "I need help with one more thing," Toby said. "Then put the damn gun down," Bloodshot argued. Toby lowered his gun and Bloodshot came down. Toby explained his situation, and the two got into Toby's Tesla and headed straight for Freedom Miller High. Asterisk. Gus had made it into the lab. It was just like the type of lab he'd see in movies, with it looking all futuristic and sciency. Gus came prepared with a bag of materials needed for electrolysis. Gus did some research on the topic, and also read the instructions, but he ultimately did not trust himself. A 15-year-old operating top-secret scientific equipment while at the threat of potentially being killed did not sound swell to him. Why was Mr. Dominus having Gus do it, when he could simply have a well-equipped scientist or even somebody skilled in combat do it? On a table there was a bucket of water. Gus grabbed a plastic water bottle from the bag of equipment and filled it up with the highly coveted water. He screwed a cap which had 2 holes in it onto the water bottle, and stuck 2 graphite pencils inside the water bottle. He then grabbed a set of devices from the bag, plugged one into the wall, fiddled around with the wires for a few minutes, until finally the contraption looked exactly as it did on the diagram. Gus was sweating, and his heart was beating incredibly quickly, but he was used to it. After all, it wasn't his first life-threatening experience. Gus pressed a button to begin the electrolysis, and the water began warping and splashing around in the bottle. Then, water started disappearing from the bottle, but Gus had to look away, as he heard the elevator make a noise. 2 individuals came out of the elevator, 2 individuals that Gus knew very well, Toby and Bloodshot. Bloodshot aimed his gun at Gus. "Stop! Gus!" Toby shouted. "What are you doing here?" Bloodshot didn't recognize Gus fast enough, and shot a single bullet from his pistol, but fortunately, Gus was already running away, trying to duck behind a table. The bullet hit the water bottle, and an explosion occurred, launching Gus into a table and launching Toby and Bloodshot back into the elevator. Debris fell from the ceiling, but nobody was injured, other than a couple bruises. Once the shock from the explosion dissipated, Toby forced Bloodshot's gun from his hands. "Don't shoot, that's Gus Blue." Bloodshot wrestled the gun away from Toby and hesitantly nodded. Gus was now hiding behind a table. "Don't shoot, they forced me to come here." "We're not going to shoot you anymore, come out from behind the table," Toby said. Gus reluctantly walked towards Toby and Bloodshot as they walked towards him. "Who sent you?" Bloodshot demanded. "Don't tell anyone, but a man named Mr. Dominus sent me," Gus replied. "What the F? What?" Toby exclaimed. Toby and Bloodshot wrapped their hands over their heads and paced around, experiencing anger, sadness, confusion, and pain all at once. "What's wrong?" Gus asked. "Doesn't matter," Toby groaned. "Why was there an explosion?" "I shot a bottle of water, and everything went to hell," Bloodshot muttered. "I was separating a third element from the water, using electrolysis," Gus explained. "Electrolysis? God! Dominus is such an idiot. He sent a 15-year-old to do an extremely dangerous experiment on something we barely know about." Toby said. "You know about electrolysis?" Gus asked. "Yeah, I work as a scientist, in this very lab," Toby explained. "Anyhow, we need to explain some stuff, and ask a few questions." Gus nodded. "So, I'm a student of Mr. Dominus, and so is a man named Harry Roots. Mr. Dominus instructed Harry Roots to talk with me, and he would then shoot me, but Mr. Dominus also sent Bloodshot to prevent Harry Roots from killing me, but I was never supposed to know that he was sent, but I threatened him to tell me. But before Harry Roots was shot, he told me that someone was stealing the water from this lab, and apparently Mr. Dominus sent you here to steal it. What the hell is his angle?" Bloodshot asked rhetorically. What? Gus said confusedly. "Gus, I know this is a lot for a 15-year-old to handle, but that's just the way it is now, and you need to accept that," Toby began. "I will do everything I can to get you out of this, so you can enjoy the precious years you have, but you need to work with us to make that happen. Understand?" Gus slowly nodded. "Good, let's get to work."